what's going on YouTube? Thank you for coming back to another episode of Scattered Brilliancy. My name is Travis and I'm here to review Netflix's Burning Sands. Now Burning Sands is a movie that's about fraternity pledging and the hazing process that goes along with it at some schools. I originally thought it was a documentary when I first saw the trailer, which I don't remember when that was, but I quickly realized, oh, this is a movie. And it was definitely a movie that I wanted to watch because it is a movie that I have somewhat of an experience with. I went to an HBCU and I also pledged while I was at my HBCU. I'm not going to get into what organization I pledged with because that's not important right now. The movie was about originally, and I'm going to give away spoilers probably, so if you haven't watched the movie, don't even bother watching my review. The movie initially started off with 6 guys who were pledging Lambda, Omega. I don't remember what the last letter was, but it was a fictional fraternity, and one of the guys dropped within the first 5 minutes of the movie. But the whole movie is just about their pledging process. Each of them is pledging for different reasons. One of them is pledging because it's kind of a legacy type thing. His father and I believe his grandfather was a part of the fraternity. Another guy's pledging just to prove himself. And another guy, the main character who played by Trevor Jackson, his name is Zurich. He's pledging, I'm assuming because his father pledged but ended up dropping lines. So maybe he's out to prove something as well. And I identified with some things in the movie as somebody who pledged a fraternity at a black school, and there was a whole bunch of stuff that I could not identify with. Unfortunately, hazing is something that goes on at many schools. You know, it's not just a black school thing. It's not just a white school thing. It is just a problem in general when it comes to fraternities and sororities. More recently, I would say probably in the last 10 years, there has been a larger crackdown on hazing in organizations like that, just because there have been so many unfortunate situations that have come along with the pledging process. You know, many people have died trying to pledge a fraternity or a sorority. The end of this movie left us not really knowing what happened. I'm just going to assume he died. We don't really know. But yeah, the movie was a lot. The movie was a lot. They went through a lot of stuff to pledge, and unfortunately, you know, even though the producer, the director, somebody is Greek, is in the Divine Nine, who made it, but unfortunately, I would be on the side of believing that everything that happened in that movie has happened to somebody at some point or another. I mean, they went through a lot. They went through a lot in this movie. And of course, you know, because it was such a negative portrayal of fraternities and the pledging process, there's backlash, you know, just like there was with the show The Quad on BET. People felt like it's a negative portrayal. However, with movies like this, sometimes you need that mirror turned on organizations or certain groups to bring light. I mean, I'm all over the place. Hence the name of hence the name of the channel. On one end, people like myself who have experience with fraternities and schools and everything that comes along with that, we know what goes on behind closed doors of certain organizations. That's just something we know. And at the same time, people want to turn a blind eye to it and act like it doesn't happen. Like they said in the movie, a lot of this stuff does happen underground. It happens under the noses of the people who are in important positions within the organization. It happens under the nose of people at schools, and it is a hush-hush thing that you don't want to get out. And you know, that is kind of one of the threats, you know, that if you tell, you're going to lose your opportunity to join this organization. So I don't really know now exactly where hazing comes from. I have a very good idea, and I feel like it all stems back to slavery. And you know, now looking back, I'll be coming up on 10 years in my organization next year. So coming up on that 10-year mark, my views of the organization, my views of the pledging process, my views of fraternities and sororities in general is much different now than it was 9 years ago when I pledged. You know, pre-pledging, I had a certain idea about what pledging was going to be, what it was going to be like, and how it was going to affect me, and what the benefits were going to be of it. That I had a view before I did it, I had a view after I did it, and I have a view now. And honestly, knowing what I know now, if I could go back, would I still pledge? The answer is probably yes. Pledging wasn't a terrible situation for me. It was, I mean, it was a learning experience. I can say that, and I'll leave it at that. So I don't talk too much before somebody gets mad about what I'm saying. Like I care, but it was definitely a learning experience for me. But unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised if these kinds of things are still happening. Now, the movie, I can't say it enough. That movie was all over the place. I mean, they spitting in people's face like they were beating them. They were beating them. Let me get back on the movie. The movie itself was okay. I think more so the movie was probably made to shine a light and open up some eyes, and it was probably so graphic because it needed to be a wake-up call. Because in a sense, it seems like some organizations probably have lost their, I'm losing my words, they've lost the reason why they were even established in the first place. I don't believe that hundreds of years ago when these organizations were founded, that their purpose was to have somebody go through all of this just to be able to say that they were a member. I don't really believe that that was a part of it. Now, I get that some people look at it as a break you down to build you up type situation. Some people look at it as, I want to see if you're deserving of wearing our letters. Some people look at it as, I just want to beat somebody's tail. If people have, I think people have their different reasons for why they haze. Do I feel like hazing is a necessary part of a pledging process? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think that you can gain valuable information. I think that you can grow as a person. I think that you can build a bond with your brothers or your sisters who are pledging with you. I think you can do all of the above without the physical hazing part that came along with, that was going on in the movie. It's not that deep. Pledging, fraternity, sororities, it's not that deep. And let me also say, I meant to say this at the beginning of the movie, I am not the spokesperson for anybody but Travis. These are just Travis's views. If you are offended by my views, it's because you're probably one of the people that I'm talking about. A hit dog will holler, so if anything that I'm saying offends you, you're probably a part of the problem when it comes to hazing. There's no one on this earth who can tell me why hazing is an essential part of the pledging process and make it make sense to me. Nobody can do that, ever. Can you tell me why beating somebody's tail is an essential part to the betterment of your organization? Because I can say that, maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm going to make an assumption, rather, and say that of all the people who are getting their tail beat or who are going through, like, stupid pledging processes that were just absolutely necessary, how much have they actually contributed to the organization now at this point? Are they even still active in the organization? Was it really worth it at the end of the day? Those are the kind of questions that you have to ask when it comes to the pledging process. Is this really going to is it going to benefit the organization? At the end of the day, that is the question. I mean, I would assume that everybody who's a part of a fraternity or sorority, you want your organization to succeed. You want them to succeed, and you have to wonder, what is that really doing? What is it doing? I mean, yeah. I've heard a lot of people's opinions on why they think why they think the hazing part of pledging is important, and it is all stupid. In my opinion, it's all stupid. Now, I think the pledging process in general is needed because, that was a time where you learned information that wasn't public knowledge. That is a time where your bond with whomever it was you were pledging with grew. Those things definitely happened with me and my line brothers, but as far as is hazing a necessary part? I don't believe that it is. I think that the Burning Sands movie is going to start a conversation that's been going on. It's just going to maybe light a fire to it and make it flare up for a little bit, and it'll be a conversation that dies back down because there are certain people and organizations who are a part of a certain mindset that hazing is essential. It's an integral part to the pledging process, and it's this whole thing that if you don't go through what I went through, you're not on my level. You're not worthy of wearing my letters. It's all a mindset thing at the end of the day. And like I said, my assumption is I believe it all goes back to slavery. And it's like a mind control type thing. Those are just my thoughts, though. If you watch Burning Sands, please let me know what you thought about it. Let me know what you think about hazing in general. Because, one thing that I didn't say is that hazing just does not happen in Greek letter organizations. There's so many bands out here hazing. Think about FAMU, who I think was a drum major who died. I think I was still in school when that happened. But there was a drum major who died. He was getting hazed. So, and there was a school down the street from my school hazing in their sections. You know, there was a saxophone section, and they hazed to make sure you were worthy of playing the saxophone or worthy of being a part of the saxophone section. So that, I mean, it's stupid. It's dumb. It's not needed. But I'm gonna stop now because my allergies are starting to flare up, and you can hear my voice is doing something. So, make sure you like, rate, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you thought about the movie. It was an interesting movie. Some parts I did not want to watch, but you know, it is somebody's reality. It ain't mine, but it's somebody's. Let me know what you thought of Netflix's Burning Sands, and make sure you like, rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And send me, if you have any emails you need to send them to scatterbrilliancy@yahoo.com, and I'll be talking to y'all later. Peace.